school was going on at Robb Elementary. And that's where the whole thing got started with that principal. Didn't want to renew the contract for George Garza. And had no reason except, he didn't want to do it.
I was an advocate. Parents would come to me because of the lack of English. And I was acting like an assistant principal in a way. And that's what kind of brought it to a clash, where they'd come to me, why do they go to you? Well, I speak Spanish. A few days later, I got a letter that is, you will not be recommended for a contract.
I guess the principal didn't appreciate that he did that he became an advocate for the parents. He was the one that they could go to. And they felt that they had lost a valuable resource in Mr. Garza.
See, we were the majority. And that was like a climax to a chain of injustices that had been occurring, Hasta aquí. This is it, We're not going to be second-class citizens anymore. We have rights.
When I went to school, the schools were segregated, it's basically. So Robb's school was your Hispanic school. Dalton School was considered to be the Anglo school. And they may have had a few Hispanics, but when you went to school, you had to speak English. That's all there was to it. And if they heard you speak Spanish, well, you got into trouble.
I remember I said something in Spanish, and the teacher I had, Mrs. Johnston, she called me and said, hey, come here, boy. And I said, okay. I went up there. She grabbed me by the ear and she took me up to the wall and she drew a circle there. And she told me to put my nose on that circle, and she put it as punishment because I was speaking Spanish.
Mexican kids sit at the back of the room, and the white kids in the front row. Privileges, just about the same. But I saw the difference there, where we were treated differently, big time.
I'll never forget this. I started thinking, what's the difference between us and them? Why are they different? And that's what really inspired me to do other things and look into those differences.
And then I remembered that there was a school board meeting. And so I turned onto Getty Street, and sure enough, there was a lot of cars parked at the school district office. That's when we heard the part about George Garza's teaching contract not getting renewed for the third time. And there was an impromptu meeting on the sidewalk where Mr. Garza was explaining to everybody what had transpired inside. And then someone yelled, well, I'm not going to send my children to school tomorrow until this issue of George Garza's contract is resolved one way or the other. And then somebody said, walk out, and somebody else yelled, walk out, and then everybody yelled, walk out.
I found out actually the day before. They came out and said, hey, we're going to walk out tomorrow. And I thought they were joking. I said, yeah, sure. I saw one guy go by, then two more guys, and two or three guys. And then then saw a whole bunch of people go walking by, and I got up and left them too.
And it was so difficult to be sitting in a classroom and your peers that you love got out and they walked out. And you stay behind, and it's like you're looking around and going, oh my gosh, what just happened?
The Catholic students joined us. The Honor Society people joined us. Even some of the sports students gave up their chances to be lettermen for the following year and joined us. And then you have your junior high, and I didn't really know that many of those kids, but they came out in droves, and some of the elementary schools came out in droves. There was at times over 600 students out of school on a single day.
When the kids from Robb Elementary were demonstrating around the school, these Rangers were, keeping their hand close to their gun, they were all little kids.
The Texas Department of Public Safety sent 50 officers, troopers. The Texas Rangers sent a whole company. They brought in helicopters. They had snipers on the roofs of buildings. Yeah, there was a big police presence.
It did become a very divisive issue in the community. Everybody was not in favor of it. I mean, as a 17-year-old, I could see that it was the right thing, and it was difficult for me to see that adults were so afraid of taking that step, of supporting their kids. And so a lot of kids didn't walk out because they did not have the support at home.
And you don't blame them. Looking back, we were very angry at them, but when you look back, you know, who wants to lose their livelihood? There weren't that many jobs in Uvalde.
From the 70s, the people that control the town still control it today. There are just certain amount of jobs, and if you want to have that job, you got to go by their rules, and either you bend or you break.
The one thing that we heard the most was, yeah, guys, you know, we need this and we need that, but you're going about it the wrong way. You're going about it the wrong way. Oh, what is your way? Why haven't you done it?
We wanted more Hispanic teachers, more Hispanic administrators. The town was 50-50. Why couldn't the schools reflect that?
But it was to no avail. The school board was not going to listen to anybody. And we couldn't go back. You know, we had taken the step and the parents would not send their kids back. They would rather have the kids lose a year and move forward with the changes.
We never went back to school that year. And so the district was hit hard because public schools are funded through attendance. And that's been in place, that mechanism has been in place for a long time. And so the schools were hit hard because the funding, I'm sure, was cut because of our lack of attendance.
But what upset me is when these men that started it realized that they were not going to be able to make the point that they wanted to, they left them hanging here. They left. Where were they when these kids didn't get to graduate? Where were they to help them? Did they help them get their GED? Did they help them? No, they were gone. Where did they go? They got a big name for themselves and everything. But what about these? I'm talking about the seniors, my friends. Where were they?
I don't feel the same way now that I did then, maybe because of my age. But in a way, I kind of feel that I've done my part, you know, and now it's time for other young people to do theirs.
I think there was a lot of good that happened. People became more politically aware. I think a lot of people found their voice. Despite the fact that it was difficult, I think it was good.
We took a great deal of pride, and still do, many of us. And even though we didn't win, the walkout changed us. Might not have changed Uvalde as a community as much, but it changed us. And a lot of us went on to do a lot of bigger and better things.
Politically, we lost. I mean, we didn't gain. I don't think we gained anything politically, not at that moment. And to me, it just defined me as a person. It defined me as actually using the Constitution to express myself, and actually that defined me as an American. And I was really proud of that. Golly, even to this moment, you know, after I served in the Navy and stuff, I see the American flag rises, and golly, I got a lump in my throat. You know, that was what I'm proud of.